Hey everyone, we're starting a little bit early, but I just wanted to kind of get this started. So for anyone who joined early, thank you for joining. We're gonna wait just a couple minutes to see if anyone else wants to join. But as you can see, I'm in a bathing suit, and the reason why is because we're going to talk all about how to keep your dogs cool. And one of the best things that you can do is teach your dogs how to swim. So if you have a kiddie pool, a regular swimming pool, or any kind of body of water that you can create for your dogs, especially in the dog days of summer, you want to try and do that. If you have a little kiddie pool, fill it up, let your dogs kind of go in, swim around, walk around, keep them cool. The most important thing is keep their underbelly cool, because that's where all of their organs are, and that's really what you need to keep cool and make sure that they stay nice and safe. But if you have a pool like I do, I have an in-ground pool. One of the best things that you can do, especially when you have a pool, is teach your dog how to swim, because God forbid if anything should ever happen and they are for whatever reason unsupervised and they have access to that pool and they fall in accidentally, you want them to know how to swim and how to get out. So one of the things that I have worked on and I have done religiously over the last few days is taught every single puppy as well as every single dog that I have that I own to swim and how to get out of the pool area. And the way I do that is I slowly introduce them into the pool and I show them how to get out by the steps. And I repeat that every day, a couple times a day, until they learn that no matter where they are in the pool, they know exactly how to get out. And they swim to the steps and they get out. So it's a twofold thing. One, it keeps them cool, but two, it keeps them safe, so that if they do ever fall into a pool, they know how to get out. And that is going to be very, very, very critical. So if you ever have a dog or a puppy that gets into a pool area for whatever reason, one, you want to be able to show them how to get out safely. And two, you want to be able to make sure that they can do it on their own without you necessarily being there. And the way to do that is to repeatedly do the exercise. Put them in the pool, show them exactly how to swim and get out of the pool safely. And if you are concerned, like I am, about them scratching up the pool and the liner and everything else, then you teach them swim to the steps and climb out. And it can be done. I tell you over and over again, it can be done. I have taught it to many, many dogs. I've got 5 huskies and they all know how to swim and they all know how to get out of a pool via the steps. And I have 7 Malinois Shepherd puppies, and I have been working with them since they were 6 weeks old in how to swim and how to get out of a pool. And they're all doing fantastic. So for anyone who's on Instagram and they've seen that little video of Tracker, that's kind of how I got started. You put him into the pool very, very close to the steps and let him swim. And if he couldn't, I was there to guide him along. And for some of the dogs, yes, I was actually in the pool and I was holding them up and guiding them to the steps. And I would do this repeatedly until they knew exactly where to go and how to get themselves out of the pool. And that's critical, because if you want to train your dogs how to swim and how to do it safely, you need to teach them how to exit in a safe manner, especially if you, for whatever reason, aren't there or they somehow get into that pool area without your knowledge. You want to make sure that they can get in and out safely on their own, and that the entire process is going to be a safe process. And especially with this heat, everyone wants to teach your dogs how to swim, how to be in a body of water, how to be able to stay cool, because let's face it, we're all experiencing this incredible temperature. 90s, feeling like over 100. We get it. And the humidity is off the charts. And if you're a dog and you have a double coat, it's even worse. So I understand, and I know a lot of people, other people out there understand exactly how bad it can be. But you always want to make sure that you keep your dog safe and cool. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today was how to keep your dog safe and cool, and how to, especially in the summertime, how to keep them cool. So there's a variety of ways. Some of it we talked about last week, but it is so important, especially with the heat and how hot it's getting. I wanted to have another session about it because it is that important. There are people every day going out, leaving their dogs and kids, believe it or not, in a car with the windows cracked and the temperature being over 100 degrees. I mean, it's ridiculous. Common sense, people. Common sense. Cannot do that because the temperature inside the car is going to go almost double of what it is outside in a very short amount of time. Don't do it. Please don't do it. But just be safe. But anyway, a couple of things that you can do to keep your dog cool. Teach your dog how to swim. It's not that hard. It really, really isn't. Now, there are some dogs who just really can't swim. But again, there are workarounds. You can get a life vest for them. And they do make them. Get a life vest so that you can put it on them and you can work with them with the life vest to help keep them afloat in the water. But they'll stay cool. It'll be nice and easy for them. And it's good exercise. Not harmful on their joints, and more importantly, they stay nice and cool in this incredible heat. Okay, so teaching your dog how to swim is, in my opinion, very important, especially if you have a pool, because the last thing you want is you haven't taught your dog how to swim, you haven't taught your dog how to get out of a pool, and somehow it falls in and now it drowns. And believe me, I've heard it. It's happened. And the last thing I want is for anything like that to happen. So, 1, teach your dog how to swim. 2, teach it how to get out of the pool. Give it an exit strategy. And the only way you can do that is by practicing with it. Every day, while it's hot, put it in the pool and show that dog how it can exit that pool safely. Make it swim to the steps and exit out. Do that multiple times and it will learn, this is how I get out of the pool safely. Okay? It's not rocket science, people. It just takes a lot of work, takes a lot of repetition, and takes a lot of dedication. But I know most of our people out there are animal lovers and they're willing to put the work in. They just need to know what to do. So now I'm telling you what to do. Put your dogs in the pool. Teach it where it needs to go to get out safely. And do it every day, several times a day, until no matter where that dog goes in the pool, it knows exactly where it needs to go to get out safely. And it's so critical and so important. And no matter how many times I try and express how important that is, there's always going to be someone out there saying, my dog's smart, it'll figure it out. It won't unless you teach it. Now, there may be the rare exception, but honestly, do you really want to take that chance that your dog is going to be that rare exception who's going to be able to figure it out on its own in the middle of a crisis? I don't want to take that chance. I don't want you to take that chance. Put a little bit of work and effort into it. Teach your dog exactly how it needs to get out of the pool, where it needs to go. Take that little bit of time, and I promise you, you will be so much happier, and your dog will be so much happier and more confident because it will know how to get out of a situation. And you can also then teach it how to be cool. Throw it in a pool, let it swim around. Eventually, if you do it on an often enough basis, it will go in on its own. It will learn to enjoy the pool. It will learn to go in, cool itself down, come out, and be happy because it's cool. It can swim. It can get exercise. and it can also uh, be able to have that control, to be able to control how cool or how hot they are depending on the temperature. But you need to be able to teach that dog what it needs to learn and what it needs to know to be able to go in and out of the pool safely, and to be able to exit the pool when it wants to in a safe manner. But that takes training, it takes time, it takes dedication. And I know our viewers out there are animal lovers. I know they are. I know. So take the time to teach your dog how to get in and out of a pool properly, how to swim, and be able to cool themselves down when they need to. Now, I know last week we talked all about, trying to beat the heat and keep your dogs cool and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, I will reiterate some of it, but please, please, please be careful. The asphalt is so much hotter than you think. If you cannot walk on it with your bare foot, please do not make your dogs walk on it with their bare feet. It's just not fair. If you have a hard time dealing with the temperatures, don't expose your dogs to those temperatures. Let them stay in some air conditioning, because they are carrying so much more weight and heat with their fur than you are. And they have to be able to process through all that heat. And depending on the breed, some breeds are a little bit better equipped to be able to process the heat than others. There are some breeds that just really cannot process the heat at all. The ones that have the brachiocephalitis, the ones that have that kind of push the nose where they can barely breathe, they sound like they're snoring or snorting all the time. French bulldogs are a good example. Some of the regular bulldogs are a good example. The ones that have that really smushed nose, they cannot process heat as well as some other dogs, because the way the heat is processed and escaped through their body, a lot of it is in through their nasal packages. But they also sweat through their paws. So be aware of that. If you find that you're taking your dog out and you see paw prints, it's because they're sweating through their paws. And that's happening for usually one of two reasons. They're either very nervous, or they're sweating because they're really, really hot. Okay, so dogs are going to sweat through panting and through their paws. And so that's not a lot of surface area. Like, we sweat through our entire body. Every surface of our skin, we can sweat. And that helps cool us down. With dogs, they don't have that. They have their paws and they have panting. And that's not a lot of surface area for them to be able to expend a lot of extra heat, which makes it difficult for them to be able to process through excessive heat. So I always try and warn people, be very, very careful when you have a dog who is, has some issues, especially with heat, what you're doing to help them, because there are certain breeds of dogs who cannot process the heat as well as other dogs. Okay, so just be aware of that. Be aware that that's an issue. Be aware that one of your dogs, especially if they have like bronchial issues, could be suspect to additional problems, especially heat exhaustion or heat stroke. And then just do your best to keep the dog cool. And there are, again, a variety of methods that you can do, from watering them down to, teaching them how to go into a pool and swim, to, just so many different options. You have so many options available. You can hose them down. You can put them in a pool. You can teach them to swim. There are so many things. Just make sure that whatever you do, that your dog is acceptable to it, and that it will work to keep your dog cool in this excessive heat. Because some people get a little lazy. We all do it. I get it. But some people get a little lazy and they're like, the dog will be fine. I just gotta go do this thing. And then next thing you know, several hours pass and your dog has been sitting in a crate for 10 to 12 hours. So just be really careful what you do, how you do it, and make sure that you use some common sense, because there are so many people out there who don't even think twice about taking their dogs out for a walk, doing whatever they do, and it's upwards of 90 plus degrees. And what people don't realize is you have black asphalt that will go to sometimes double the regular temperature. So you have 90 degrees and the asphalt is like 180 degrees. How would you feel if you walked in your barefoot on 100-degree asphalt? And there are so many people and pictures of dogs who have the pads of their paws completely burned out because they're walking on asphalt in 90-degree weather. Just people exercise just a smidgen of common sense. If you can't walk on a particular surface in that particular heat, why, for God's sakes, would you put your dog through that? And then allow their paws to get burned to the point where they have to go to a vet and get special attention because the pads of their feet are completely burned off. Just a little bit of common sense. That's really all we're asking. Be very, very, very careful of what you're doing with your dogs in this heat. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is how can you keep your dogs cool? One of the best ways, and I use it every day, especially when it's really hot, I have a pool. Now you can get a kiddie pool, like a little kiddie pool, which I used to do before I had, this property that I have. And put your dogs in the pool and teach them how to swim. Now, with the kiddie pool, you don't really need to teach them how to swim because, they can walk around, whatever. But I have an in-ground pool, and every single day, I put my dogs in that pool and I teach them how to swim. Now, when I first started, of course, I put them right by the step so they could just walk right out. And then as they got better and better, I put them a little bit further out till the point where they had to actually swim a little bit before they got out. And now I'm to the point where I can literally take one of the puppies, throw them into the pool, and they can swim out. Now, would I do that on day one? Absolutely not. You have to be cognizant and aware of your dog's ability and what you're doing to help them get to the point where you want them to be. So when I first started, I put them literally right on the step. So they were basically standing right on a step and could just walk right out. Or I was in the pool with them and I was holding them and teaching them how to get out of the pool. And then eventually I got them a little bit further, a little bit further, and a little bit further away from the step so that they had to swim a little bit more to the step to be able to get out. But this is what I did to teach them. One, how can you learn to get out of the pool on your own? If for whatever reason, God forbid, something ever happened and they fell into the pool, I want them to know how to get out. I want them to know how to get out safely. I want them to know how to be safe for that entire process. Okay? The only way you can do that is to put them in that situation and teach them what to do. And that's what I did. Okay. And you can do the same thing, but you have to have enough presence of mind to be able to put your dogs through that and understand that you're doing the right thing for them. Okay, because there are so many people out there who are like, oh my God, I feel so bad for the puppy. Oh no, I don't want to overwhelm it. No, the dog needs to understand, because God forbid if anything happened accidentally and fell into a body of water and it didn't know how to swim. How much worse would you feel if you did not teach that dog how to swim and it drowned? I know, I would feel horrible. I would feel like a horrible human being. So I am teaching every single one of my dogs, when you're in a body of water, here's what you need to do. Okay? I'm teaching that dog how to be able to escape, how to be able to survive, and how to be able to live if it ever got into a position where it submerged underwater. And you do not know how important that is until you ever experience a dog who, for whatever reason, gets submerged involuntarily. It's so important. Take the time, teach your dogs how to swim, teach your dogs how to get out of a particular area, especially a swimming pool, safely, so that if anything accidental happens, the dog knows how to get out and can do it safely. To me, that's worth it. It's so worth it. Saving that dog's life because I took the time to teach that dog how to swim and how to get out of a pool safely. And they're not born knowing how to do that. They're just not. You need to teach the dogs how to do it. You need to teach the dog where to go, when to go there, and what to expect when they get there. And you would be amazed at the results. Absolutely amazed. So, okay, having said that, we're almost at 20 after. So, thank you everyone for joining. I know the topic was last minute, but I think it's very apropos with the weather that we've been having. I do also want to let everyone know that the first Wednesday in August, I will not be doing a live stream. So for those who are looking forward to that, I apologize, but I will be out in Colorado delivering a puppy to its new owner. And I will not be doing a live stream next week. But I will come out with a series of topics for the month of August, and I will release that within the next few days. So keep an eye out. And if you have any suggestions, please feel free to text, email, private message me if you have any particular topics that you'd like me to cover. Otherwise, like I said, I will always come up with something, and I will come up with something for August and let you know what that's going to be. But in the meantime, teach your dogs how to swim. Keep your dogs cool in the dog days of summer. And if anyone has any questions, please give me a call. You can reach me on my cell. You can reach me through social media. You can also email me. So there are multiple channels. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night, and I will see you all